All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Meet Us in the Ring podcast. I am Mary the Heel, here as always with my co host, Maddie and Axel. And today we have a very special guest, Shanna Hill. I am so glad that you're here today. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
So, this is our special Mother's Day episode. We want to celebrate the moms of Wrestletok because we're all Wrestletok content creators and we want to show you guys appreciation. Today is Mother's Day. So, happy Mother's Day, Shanna.
Thank you.
So, for people who don't know, kind of tell us about you and then you can plug your social and then everyone else will plug their socials.
Okay. I am a 39-year-old mother of two. I have a 12-year-old son and a 7-year-old daughter. She's a lunatic and she's aged me like 25 years. Um, I've been a wrestling fan since I was 4, and that pretty much consumes most of my life other than being a mom.
And where can people find you?
My TikTok is Shayna Hill Official, and my Instagram, I'm the most active on Instagram and TikTok. It is Shayna Hill 7.
Awesome. All right, Maddie, Axel, do you want to plug?
Yeah, what's going on, guys? Maddie at IZ Persephone on TikTok and Twitch. All my social media links are in the link tree in my TikTok bio. Subscribe to the podcast, follow the podcast, our Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok page. And yeah, happy Mother's Day, everybody. Happy Mother's Day, Shanna.
Thank you.
First off, happy Mother's Day, everyone. Happy Mother's Day, Shannon. And as always, A-Town down, Bianca Belair all day. Screw Roman Reigns. I'll be a little polite today. And if you're here, like the video. And if you haven't subscribed, please do it now.
We passed over 200, so that was super exciting.
Thank you, guys.
So, yes, thank you to everyone who has subscribed. We appreciate you. So, starting off, I want to ask you, first of all, are your kids wrestling fans?
Yes. So the hilarity is they've never liked the normal child favorites. Like my son's a little bit older, so he never liked like John Cena or anything like that. Rusev was his favorite wrestler ever. Like he would lose his absolute mind every time Rusev came out. And my daughter, since she could talk and like dance, has been a Shinsuke Nakamura fan. Like I have all kinds of videos of her like doing the hand things and just losing her mind. And then she was also a really, really big Bludgeon Brothers fan. I have a video of her when she couldn't have even been, she was probably about 2.5 and she had a binky in her mouth and the music would hit and they would walk out and she would just say Bludgeon Brothers and she would just like go nuts. And I have so many videos of her just doing that every time they would come out. And yeah, so even to this day, like she's still a huge Shinsuke fan. She still watches a lot more than my son does because he's 12 and all about Fortnite and doesn't do anything else besides Fortnite. But when they're at their dad's house, they're with their dad on Mondays. So she always calls me when Raw starts and she makes sure that I'm watching and then we'll video chat for the first few minutes when it starts.
Who's her current favorite?
Still Shinsuke. She also really likes the Acclaimed because she likes the song and she obviously doesn't get it, but she'll always be like, is Daddy Ass on yet? Is Daddy Ass on yet? And she calls him Scissor Me Daddy for the most part, but I went a few weeks ago to see Dynamite and I had to record their entrance for her and then send it to her before she would go to sleep. So she still loves Shinsuke and she loves the Acclaimed.
That is so funny. I find that hilarious because like, you know, I know a lot of kids. I work at a school, but I never like hear them talking about wrestling, and hearing that those are her favorites is just so interesting to me. Because like I just always assume she's gonna have like, you know, Bianca Belair or, you know, somebody
yeah, she
like
likes that. Bailey. She does like Bailey, but she also really likes Rhea Ripley. But
so she's a heel for sure.
She is. And it's always been hilarious because like I said, you know, they always cheered when the New Day came out and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. But she literally like from the first time she saw Shinsuke, I don't know if it was the dancing or what it was, but yeah, she loves Shinsuke. And then I am from the same hometown as Luke Gallows. So like we went to rival high schools and stuff, and we have like a bunch of mutual friends and things like that. And a couple years ago for Christmas, he comped me some tickets to go to a New Year's Eve SmackDown. So I took my son. The seats were like mint. They were really good. And my son got to see Rusev come out, and the excitement on his face and everything when Rusev came out, and the screaming in the video I have is I would have paid top-notch money for that reaction, but he just went crazy. And John Cena was there. He had gotten into like a little tiff thing with Becky Lynch at the time. And like, he didn't care. He couldn't care less that John Cena was there. He was just, Rusev comes out and he got upset because he didn't catch a pancake whenever the New Day came out. But when Rusev and Lana came out, he just went nuts like the kids do for John Cena. He just went crazy for Rusev.
Oh, that's so cool.
You should have gotten him a Rusev Day shirt.
Yeah.
He had I think he wore his New Day shirt, if I'm thinking right. He wore it, and I'm pretty sure that might have been before. I think it was before Rusev Day. But all he was asking was if Rusev was going to be there, and I'm like, he probably will. And then he came out, and he was like screaming, and his eyes were all big. He was pretty pumped.
I love that. Well, that kind of answers one of my questions. I was going to ask if they go to live events with you, but you basically answered that.
She does not yet, because even if it's something she enjoys, she can't sit still for long enough. So when she thinks she wants to go, but I think we're going to start with some like an indie show around town, just to see how she does. Because I know she'll have to get up to do something every 10 minutes. So we'll have to see how she handles that first.
Yeah. Indie places are good starting points. Because I don't know how it is like in your guys' areas, but where I live, they'll have like an intermission during the show. And so like people can get up, go to the bathroom, like get food, like whatever, so you don't miss anything. So I don't know if it's like that where you are, but
it is. And we have like the indie companies around here, like the smaller indie companies, like your stereotypical like high school gym companies. But the one that Luke Gallows actually started at brought in some really big names to one of the events. Had like Matt and Rebby Hardy, Carlito, Ric Flair was there. He cut a promo on my friend's girlfriend who was sitting in the crowd, like bleach blonde hair, red lips, like good looking girl. And he saw her in the crowd and he pointed her out, and she was like 50 shades of red, just embarrassed. But Carlito jumped the barricade and put his arm around my shoulder and sat there for a couple minutes. And I was like, this is crazy. But we have shows like that. So I'm hoping that if anybody like bigger comes around again, to keep her interest so she might know who someone is, we'll start out small.
Yeah. Well, having said that, tell us more about you, like when you started watching wrestling and how many shows you've been, if you know the number, but
sure.
And all that good stuff.
So I used to watch wrestling all the time with my grandfather when I was little, like your typical, like curl up on the couch, that kind of thing. I was about 4 or 5. I was a big WCW fan growing up. I preferred that over like the Attitude Era stuff. Like I really enjoy like technical wrestling and all that kind of stuff. So I prefer like the wrestling side over the sports entertainment side, so to speak. I've been to a bunch of shows. I would say probably about maybe like 50 in total. We live in a very small town, but like Pittsburgh, Baltimore, DC, that kind of stuff's about a 2-hour drive. So it's always my cat's trying to make her appearance over here. It's always like a fun trip, get a hotel room and stay and stuff. But the first big event I went to WrestleMania 25.
Nice.
And then like I usually go to like WWE pay-per-views. TNA did a bunch of shows like an hour away from me. So I like those smaller intimate shows like that, because I got to like talk to Eric Young and just like they were all just kind of hanging out. I met Samoa Joe. It was one of the highlights of my life. And then I went to the first All In was like a pivotal moment for me with getting involved with wrestling things because I made friends with a couple people that were helping run it. And one of them was related to Conrad Thompson. So we kind of made friends with them and got in. We kind of just like went all over the venue pretty much for the entire weekend. We partied in a green room with Pat Patterson and Gerald Briscoe. Like,
oh my
it was
gosh.
Wow.
hilarious. They were just like, we walk into this room and they're just sitting there and we're like, this is crazy. Rocky Romero came in and hung out with us for a little while. I walked into a random hotel room at like 3 a.m, trying to find my way outside, and Kenny Omega was signing posters, just sitting in the room. I didn't have time to like react that he was like signing posters in a random room. So because of that relationship that a few of us built, I got to work StarCast for Double or Nothing in Vegas. So my job for that day was to chaperone a blind man. And at first I was like, I don't know if I don't want to lose him. Like, I didn't know, necessarily like what I was going to do, but I met so many people, and we stood and talked to Mark Henry for like an hour. Scott Hall, Hangman Page, Sting, Joey Janela. We stopped and talked to him for like 15 minutes. Like, it was probably like the coolest experience that I've ever had. And then we were just hanging out, and I ran into Tama Tonga and Tongaloa, and I have been obsessed with their father. It was like full circle moment for me because Ming was one of my favorites growing up. And I like ignored the brothers, and I was like, I love you guys, but I want to talk to your dad. And I talked to him for about 10 minutes. We took a picture together, and then he kissed me on the cheek. And that was like the best thing that's ever happened to me at a wrestling event, was getting kissed on the cheek by Ming. It was pretty cool. And then with COVID and everything, it kind of shut everything down. And then my first show back was Dynamite a few weeks ago in Pittsburgh, and I got to be a seat filler for that. So
Wow.
I got to sit we were the first section, like right behind the chairs. And then if they needed you to fill in camera side during any of the shows, like if people were going to the bathroom or anything like that, they'd grab you and be like, hey, go sit over here. So I ended up going over there for the entirety of Rampage. So you can see my big head like the whole time on Rampage. And it was a cool experience. And then I made friends with the girl who was running that. So she's like, we do it for WWE. We do it for everything here. So next time they're in Pittsburgh, she told me to just reach out to her, and then I'll get to do it for WWE stuff, and might end up, ringside or, something with that.
How did you get that opportunity to be a seat filler?
Okay, so there's this
or is that
TikToker. No. There's this actually Bree Stout. She she tagged me in a video on TikTok. There's a TikToker named Bobby Vivid. And Bobby had posted that if you're going to be in the Pittsburgh area at the AEW show, to message him on Instagram. And we've interacted before because I've seen him on TV during like pay-per-views and stuff in Pittsburgh. And I messaged him, and he was like, just meet me at this place at this time. And I didn't know what it was because he didn't say. He just said to show up there. So I go. Well, I already had tickets to go, and it was in the venue. So, and there was a group of us, so it wasn't just me randomly meeting like an internet guy. But I got there, and then they were like, yeah, here's your bracelet. You're going to be a seat filler. And before anybody has anything bad to say, because I know it'll happen, WWE does it too. So it's not just an AEW thing where like they can't fill the seats or like anything like that. It's just that they want the cameras to pick up when the largest group of people in the crowd. So there were probably about 20 of us. And they came to get us all after Dynamite was over, and then of course people were leaving, so they needed to fill that up. So we all went over camera side, and it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen people post videos of them as seat fillers at like WWE events and stuff. So yeah, they definitely do it too. They're all like that.
Yeah.
I mean,
and it's free. Why wouldn't you do that? You know, like it's like getting a free upgrade to fly somewhere. Like, why wouldn't you want a free upgrade to first class? The only thing that I already bought tickets, so I was like, man, I wouldn't even have had to buy tickets. I could have just showed up that day to, buy tickets there, and then, got in for free.
So what you're telling me is that you're going to be the new green shirt guy.
Yes. Oh, yes. Yes, I need to find a way to like stand out or something. Like
you need to find an iconic shirt.
Yeah.
So my next question is, because I want to go back to like talking about you being a mom and your kids and stuff. Mm-hmm. Would you support your kids if they told you they wanted to be a wrestler?
Yes. So my daughter, she's taking Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu right now, and she's determined that that's what she wants to do. She has really bad ADHD, and even on things that she wants to do, she doesn't really focus for long. She tried softball and things like that, but for the first time ever, she is focused on something. She got her first set of stripes. She is like, she listens to the teacher, which that's a shocker in itself, because like I said at the beginning, she is crazy. But she listens to the teacher. She does all the respect things she's supposed to do. And she changes her mind often, but she does say that she wants to be a wrestler. And then my son, I love him more than anything, but he does not have one athletic bone in his body. So if he, and he knows Fortnite. This, I always tell him that he can barely catch a cold. That's like the only thing that he can catch. Oh my gosh. But he has such a flamboyant personality that he could 100% be like a manager or something like that. Like he just is, and he's like a theater kid. So like he could literally just like, he could be a Paul Heyman. Like he could be like a Bobby the Brain Heenan. Like that's the kind of personality that he has. So I was actually telling people before, I was watching, it's like, it was this redneck boxing thing last night. And it was just like these Southern West Virginia, Kentucky border people, like your typical like backwoods redneck people boxing. Like that's just what it was. And I was like, I don't think I could watch my kids do something like that, because they're getting hit in the face. If they wanted to do like MMA or something, like I don't think I could watch it. I think I would get upset and probably want to try to fight the other person, or I'd cry the whole time. But I would support them if they wanted to do it, but I would have a really hard time like if they wanted to be like John Moxley or something and get like stabbed in the face with a fork. I don't know if I could do that, but I could watch them if they wanted to be like Bryan Danielson or something.
Did you ever have any aspirations when you were younger to be a wrestler?
No, but I have always wanted to do backstage interviewing. Like I have always wanted to do that. I could never do like commentary because I can't focus if someone's like telling me something in my ear. I don't think I could do that. But I always wanted to be like a Renee Young. Like I still do. Like I feel like eventually there might be a market for 39-year-old moms to, I mean, she's not that much younger than me either. I think she's like a year younger than me. So if she's doing it, I feel like I could do it. And I'm trying to work some stuff out with some British indie companies for WrestleMania next year, because I'm like a little under 4 hours outside of Philly. So I'm trying to work with Progress and some other companies to try to see if I can do something backstage for that. So my fingers are crossed on that one. I'm trying to live out my dream before retirement age at this point.
Yeah, I mean, and honestly, you don't look 39. You know what Thanks. I mean? So slay, queen, because I think you can do it. Because I love your content. I I can't remember when I started following you. I think it was only like a few months ago, maybe. But your videos, I feel like they always start a conversation, and I really like that about your content.
Thank you. I
And
try to be just different. Like
yeah,
I try to just do different things, you know?
You are different because the one thing, because obviously I follow you too, is you don't care. You always say what's on your mind. You don't care about the responses.
Yeah, I care behind the scenes sometimes. Like if something gets to be a little too much, like I might care a little bit back there. But the one thing that I'll say is that I know a lot of things about stuff that people don't normally talk about. So like everybody goes through a phase where if you're a huge wrestling fan when you're a kid, when you get into your teenage years, your early 20s, people take a break sometimes. Like you're growing up and you kind of like are going through a lot in life and you shift out of it. And I did for a few years. And then my ex-husband was really into wrestling too. So that was something that like we bonded over at the beginning. And then I went through that plateau again. And then I discovered Progress and the indie companies in the UK. And Trent Seven, he's gonna love me one day. It's just not that day yet. But I discovered him and like Pete Dunne and all those guys. And that like lit a fire in me. And I was like, okay, this is what I'm used to. It brings me back to my childhood with like WCW stuff. And then that's why, like, when I decided to start doing Wrestletok stuff, I've only been really doing it since like maybe June of last year. And I was like, I don't want, and this isn't anything against the way that anybody else creates content. I just knew that I wanted to do something different. And a lot of the girls at the time were doing your typical, like, you know, I'm obsessed with this person because I think this person's attractive, or, you know, like that kind of stuff. And I mean, I make my thirst videos about Trent Seven and Samoa Joe. It happens, you know, but I try to not play into that like stereotype. And I don't want to sound mean or like I'm saying that my content's better than someone else who does that. I enjoy that content because I'm like, yeah, I'm glad you put together this 2-minute video of somebody that's attractive, you know, like it's nice. But I wanted to be different because, and I know that's like a pick me response, but like I don't mean it to be. I just wanted it to be different because the differences in how I view wrestling and how I appreciate it might be different because not a lot of people talk about the fundamentals of, you know, things outside of the popular, you know, WWE and AEW. Like I try to be a little bit different in that. And I think that that's one of the reasons why I've had like what I deem as success. I mean, I don't have the most followers in the world, but the conversations that I have with people, it's nice when you used to feel alone in those thoughts because it didn't seem like anybody ever really cared. So even seeing like 2 or 3 other people in a comment section that like the same people from the UK that I like or view things the way I do, it's accepting, and I really enjoy, even with the toxicity, I still enjoy it.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like you and Maddie have pretty similar content and like the style you guys like really talk about what's going on in wrestling and you start conversations. Like I said, I think my content is kind of like it's like memes, but then like also sometimes talking about stuff, and then other times just like me telling you guys I love these people and you know screw you if you don't. You know, like I feel like my content is like what was that?
The Bellas.
Period. There they are, right there. But like I think I'm just being me, and this isn't even my first TikTok account. Like I have another one that was for like more of like my other interest, but I think your content it really grabbed my attention because like Axel said, like you don't care what people think. I mean, at least that's how it's portrayed, you know, on TikTok.
Well, that's not that, and that's the thing. That's not what I meant. I meant she doesn't care to put out what she wants. because like she said, certain, like when it comes to women wrestling TikTokers, people want to see a certain type of thing. They want to see the thirst traps. They don't want to see a woman talking about the stuff that's going on in wrestling because they want to keep you guys in a section. That's why I started following her, because I'm like, oh wow, okay, I like this. I like when women actually talk about it. I get it. We all find wrestlers attractive, but I actually want to hear, like, it's amazing hearing the other opinions.
Yeah, and like
shout
I
out
said,
to Renee for her thirst traps.
Definitely.
Yeah, and like
definitely.
like I didn't, and it's hard to say because like I said, I don't want it to come across as a pick me situation because I'm like, trying to talk about like the actual wrestling. But it's kind of like that. I can't dance, so there's no way I'm doing any kind of TikTok dances. That's not going to happen. The Tub Talks thing started out as I've been doing that for probably about 5 years now. I used to do it on Instagram all the time because I would just, it's like a self-care thing. So I would just be relaxing and then I'd have a thought. I watch a lot of like cheesy reality TV shows. So like I would start complaining about something and it was on my Instagram all the time. So that's where that started. And then I was like, oh yeah, well, people are commenting on my TikToks and I happen to be reading it while I'm in the bathtub and I can't focus for more than 7 seconds. So I need to respond to it as soon as I see it. So and it's funny to me because I've had people that don't follow me that see my videos for the first time. And the first time they see a video, it's a Tub Talk. And I've had people be like, oh, you're just doing this for attention. And I'm like, well, isn't that why anybody posts anything on the internet? Like, that's why you do anything. But
period.
It's funny because I never do it as like a thirst trap type of thing. It's just like, because if I did, I would show more and I would charge behind a paywall. You know what I mean? Like that would be my OnlyFans content, like I would make money off of it. And another thing with what Axel said about me not caring, my videos are not polished. They are not edited. I record them and I post them. The quality is not always the greatest. I don't always look the greatest because what I need to say and get out there should be the focus of why people are watching the video. And I know that, it's a visual thing, like I get it. But for me personally, it's never been about like my looks have never been the focus of why I try to get attention. Like I want to get the attention for knowing what I'm talking about or like introducing somebody to a different company or something like that, because like I said, I wouldn't get on the internet looking like I slept under a bridge, the night before if I cared about what anybody actually thought about what I looked like and didn't want to just listen to the things I had to say.
So do your kids know that you post on TikTok?
My son follows me on TikTok, and then my daughter, she I don't share my kids I share them on Facebook because my Facebook's private. But I don't share them on socials. Every so often on my Instagram story, if like when my daughter was dancing to Shinsuke's entrance or like the Bludgeon Brothers thing, like she was only 2 at the time and it's like the back of her head. I'll share that because she's almost 8. Like she doesn't look the same. It's innocent and it's like, a 30-second clip, but I don't share them on socials for their protection and mine because I'm paranoid about everything on the internet. But they know my son creates content. He has his own Twitch. So he plays Fortnite on that. That's what he wants to do when he grows up. He wants to make video games and like he wants to be like a content creator. And then my daughter, she creates her own YouTube videos on her little creator camera that I got her and her little cell phone. So she thinks she's a beauty guru. So she'll do her makeup and record herself and stuff. So they kind of listen to the things that I say and then they kind of emulate it a little bit. So it's kind of cool.
So you're just going to be a family of content creators.
Yeah. And my son's like I am. He doesn't care. He got embarrassed a couple weeks ago because one of the kids at school found his Twitch. And I was like, did they have anything bad to say? He was like, no, he just told other people, and I was like kind of embarrassed because I'd rather people I don't know watch it than people that I do know watch it. And I was like, I get that.
I mean,
how that feels.
Yeah, I think we all kind of are like that. I mean, Axel, I don't know about you, but like when I see people that I know watching my content, I get so like embarrassed and like
Me
cringe
too.
because
Damn,
'cause-
holy shit.
I don't care about like people around my age, but working at the school and hearing some of the kids say, "Hey, Mr. Axel, I saw you," and I'm like, the first thing in my mind is, which one?
bruh, one of the kids at my school told me she found my Instagram. I immediately set that to private because I was like, no, ma'am. No, because I cannot. I'm not gonna have you telling all of the middle schoolers about my stuff, But like, so what does your son think of your Tub Talk videos?
He is, my kids are kind of just used to me. I always say that I'm a really good mom, but I'm not the best parent. Like, I don't have there's a fine line of boundaries between all of us because, when I was married, my ex-husband works nights, so he would be at work all night, sleep all day. It was just me and them. So we have a very close relationship, and there's not very, like I said, the fine line with the boundaries. They watch horror movies with me. They both watch TikTok and have TikTok. They know like what they're allowed to do and what they're not allowed to do, and I always have an ear on them, so I always know what they're doing. But they're kind of just used to it at this point. Like they sometimes my daughter will sit on the toilet, like just sit there playing with a doll or something while I'm filming a Tub Talk. So they kind of just they're kind of used to it at this point. But sometimes I do get embarrassed if my son is around and I'm like ranting about something, because I'm like, don't you do that. Like, handle it a little bit nicer than I did. But
Yeah, do as I say, not as I do.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah, I'm a big hypocrite when it comes to stuff like that.
And so, how do you find the balance of being a mom and being a content creator?
Something that nobody tells you is how much free time you get when you get divorced. Because my kids are with their dad 10 days a month. So I have a lot of time when they're not there. And I don't really plan time to film anything. Like that's another thing. Like I know some people have like a content schedule and they film during certain times and they take the time to edit. My footage is just raw. Like I don't edit anything. Like I don't even stitch videos properly. Like I download it and chop it up. That's as close as I get to editing and stitching anything. But I do a lot of the stuff when they're like if I'm working from home or they're with their dad, or I just have like a free few minutes, or if something major happens and I need to like run away, I'm like, hey, I need 5 minutes to film a TikTok. Like give me 5 minutes, and then I shut myself in my bedroom, and then they usually let me film it without any problems.
I wish I could do that because honestly, like I have to get in like a certain headspace in order to film. Like I can't just like, okay, I'm gonna talk about this and like that's it. Like I have to be like, all right, what time is it right now? Okay, do I have anything to do? Like I have to like plan out my whole thing.
Sometimes I just like there have only been like 3 videos where I've actually made a list of things. Usually I just like I have a notes app on my phone, and if I get a thought while I'm at work or if I'm doing something and I can't record a video, I'll put it in my my notes app, and then I'll film it whenever I get a chance. But like as far as a script goes or like a thought process, usually I don't have one unless something's going on. And then like I have a lot of videos that I've made and kept to private, or like made and then deleted or just never posted, like the whole Britt Baker Christian Cage thing. At the time when I made that video about those rumors, It was my most viewed video, and I had like 13,000 views in like 2 hours. And it really pained me to have to like private it, because I didn't feel the greatest about making it in the first place. If you don't know, there was a rumor that Britt Baker cheated on Adam Cole with Christian Cage. And it was made up by somebody that like is very, I can't remember who it was, but they are very not respected in, you know, the wrestling news world. And I'm like Axel. Like when Axel made the video the other day about being like heavy on the rumors, like if it's a rumor, I'll say it like multiple times in the video. I'm like, there's this rumor that this happened, and like it blew up, and I was like, I feel icky about it, and I just have to private it. I made a rant video the other day about how like in the Matt Riddle situation where he had that crazy ex-girlfriend, whether that's true or not, I don't know. But the premise of the video is that famous people in general will sometimes hit up their fans for those kind of situationships or whatever. And as somebody, like, if you're going to go along with that, you have to be quiet about consensual things, like those kind of relationships. And sometimes people aren't even in the most of consensual situations. This sounds so bad every time I say it, which is why I didn't post a video. So you get this take first. They ruin
Exclusive.
it for people. Yes, they ruin it for people who are wanting the secrecy of those kind of situationships with professional wrestlers, other athletes, musicians, actors, or whatever, without having to sign an NDA. There are people out there. I have a couple friends that have had situationships with a couple wrestlers that wrestle every week on your TV that are previous world champions, and they will not speak on it because that is a situation that they're okay with having. And there are people that get labeled ring rats and stuff like that. I personally have never been with a wrestler, but if Trent Seven called me up, I'm not telling anybody, you know, like those kind of situations ruin it. And I thought I made the video and I was proud of it. I was like, okay, this is a good video, but I don't want it to be misconstrued as me saying that famous people have the right to manipulate women in these situations. And it kind of came off that way, and that's not how I meant it. So I just deleted it.
Yeah. I mean, I think we've all had videos that we've filmed and then either deleted after we posted it or just didn't post it at all. Nope. I currently have... what do you mean, no?
Nope. No, the lies.
So you've never made a single video where you're like, maybe I shouldn't post that?
Nope.
Well, hashtag can't relate, because I have a video in my drafts right now that like I want to post, but I'm not going to post because it's a Bret Hart video, and I just like I don't want the smoke. So
man, post that. That man is mid. Post that. That man is mid.
Sir.
It was just
if you would have said that 2 minutes into this interview, I would have laughed.
Listen.
Axel, you're insulting our guest.
Listen.
Oh my god.
No, I mean it was just about like a tweet that, or not like a tweet, but a post that had a quote from him. You probably know which one I'm talking about. And I just was gonna make a video about it, and I was like, you know what? I don't want the smoke. I don't want Alan to come for me. Man, and apparently
Alan ain't about
too.
Nothing.
I don't want you to come for me.
Alan is nothing. Alan, if you hear this, Bret Hart, you already know. Yeah. We was at Mania together. We already know.
Maddie, have you ever had that experience?
I've had, most of the videos, there was one that I made a few days ago about AEW All Access, and I'm debating on posting it because...
Man, post that shit. That shit corny.
I know.
I haven't watched one
episode.
episode. I haven't watched one episode of it.
But I've never watched it either. I mean, like, are you kidding me? But I wanted to give my thoughts on like some scenes I've seen. But anyway, I get a lot of backlash for when I make jokes about like wrestlers. Like, I don't really have any wrestlers I really dislike because I don't waste that kind of energy. But I'm not a huge fan of Becky Lynch, Britt Baker, and I kind of get a lot of crap for that.
I get
But
it.
I mean, when you're not at the same time, like, I never go out of my way to be like, oh, they're ugly, untalented, dumb. Like,
Mhm.
it's definitely about the way you phrase it. But in terms of videos, yeah, I think I had to take one down that was about Becky that a lot of people weren't happy with. And I kind of rethought it and was like, yeah, I could see how that comes across. And I don't want to spread any negativity. So I took it down, but it popped off and I was kind of mad about that.
It's always the
Well,
one that pops off that you have to delete.
Controversy.
Gets views.
It creates cash. Just ask Eric Bischoff.
but it's so unfortunate that it has to be like that, like
Mhm.
I mean, especially with like no offense, Axel, but with women content creators,
I was
like
gonna say
if
that.
we create controversy, it's way worse than when men do it.
Yeah.
And
It is.
Axel,
It is.
you agree?
Yeah.
Did you guys see the fight that I had last week or the week before with the guy with David Finlay being Fit Finlay's father?
No.
What?
Oh, so I posted a video. I was watching Wrestling Revolver, not last Saturday, but the Saturday before. And growing up, my 3 favorites in the world that like got me through my teenage years were Fit Finlay, William Regal, and Dean Malenko. I clearly have daddy issues. Like I have no other explanation for it.
She really
that.
loves her real wrestling.
Oh yeah, I love it.
Just by them 3 wrestlers, you're able to tell that.
And the Bret Hart.
So I posted a video of David Finlay coming out. It was him and Ace Austin and Chris Bay. And they were walking out, and I literally said that, like, I can't handle the fact that I have Charlie Dempsey in NXT because he's William Regal's son, and that I have David Finlay everywhere else, and he's Fit Finlay's son, but Dean Malenko doesn't have any children that wrestle, so, or I would lose my mind over them, I'm sure. And I had 2 men in the comments section. One said that, too bad Fit Finlay isn't his father. So I went and I screen recorded Wikipedia, and he was like, well, Wikipedia isn't always right. So then I went to David Finlay's Instagram, and I screen recorded his Instagram and and hearted a picture of Fit Finlay on a scooter that said like scooters with pops or something. So that guy never responded back. But then another guy in the comment section said fake. And I was like, what's fake? Like, I didn't know if he meant wrestling, because that happens sometimes too. And he's like, that's not his dad. And I was like, it absolutely is. Like, see these 2 previous, corrections. Like, I wouldn't say it if it wasn't true. So he was like, oh, I bet you think everybody with the same last name is related. You probably think the Dudley boys are actual brothers. And I was like, no. And then I made a video and I was like, Fit Finlay porked David Finlay's mom, and that's the reason why David Finlay is Fit Finlay's son. And then this guy went in, attacked my looks like they always do when they can't, handle. And it's a fact. It's not an opinion. I didn't say that, like, Fit Finlay was a better wrestler than Chris Jericho. Like, I didn't say anything that was opinion based. It was a fact, like their father and son. Yeah. And he attacked my looks and then said that when I was unalive, that nobody would miss me and like all this stuff. So I ended up blocking him after that. After I went back and forth with him for about 12 hours because I kept telling him I was going to block him. But I got 25 new followers that day from that video and like my response videos. So until they go, like, people attack my looks all the time. But when they go like that low to say something like that, I was like, it's over. And I knew he was trolling at that point. So I ended up blocking him. And that was
virgins. Wait, what happened?
Yeah. And I said, in one of the videos, like, the responses are still there, but I was like, I know that you're not used to seeing where babies come from, but I can assure you that Fit Finley is how that baby got in there. And like, I'll go back and forth with you. Some guy was making fun of my glasses and the size of my forehead. And when I went to
I get that all the time.
That's why I have bangs and glasses. Like, I don't know what you want me to do. Like, I don't know what you want me to do.
You see that shiny thing right there? Like, you see this thing shining?
Like, I can't help it. So I have bangs and glasses. You know, it covers the real estate. Like, I don't know. And I went to his profile and screenshotted his picture, and he looked like Big Ed. Good. And he had no shoulders, or no neck. He was like shoulders and head. I'm like, this you? And then another guy made fun of the size of my forehead. And I went to his TikTok page, and he had 4 dreadlocks, holding one for dear life that started back here because his hairline started at his friggin' shoulder blades. And I ended him, and that was it. You know, he looked like freaking Predator, you know, like with 4 or 5 dreadlocks coming off that started like, you know, midpoint in his head, you know, but nobody, and I don't want to sound conceited when I say this, but nobody that looks better than me has ever been the one to say anything about the way that I look.
Period. That's always the case. That's always the case. It's people being insecure in themselves and then attacking people who are secure.
I love
called me a virgin. And I go to their page, they got a Star Wars profile picture. I'm like, let's
Star Wars, but I mean,
first of all, Star Wars.
I like lightsabers. I'm not really a big fan, but let's not act like you don't have that as your profile. Like,
Star Wars is life.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I always love using the profile picture thing. Like, someone will comment some, you know, dumb stuff on my video, and I'll be like, that's funny coming from someone who doesn't even have a real profile pic. Like,
right.
Oh, this is the internet. This is the internet. We don't have to post our real selves. I'm like, okay.
I'll find you.
Okay.
I'm like,
all right, bud.
I will find you, and I will find your Instagram or your Facebook page. I'll find your high school graduation picture. I'll find you, and I will. I'm like Liam Neeson of TikTok. You know, I will find you, and you know that'll be the end for you. But you know,
yeah. Period. Star Wars.
I'm not saying it's an issue. It's like the people who come at me and I say, bro, you have a Naruto picture. I love Naruto. I have a Naruto tattoo, but you're not gonna act like your fan base doesn't get the same treatment. Like, calm down.
Yeah.
You guys get called nerds and everything. Why are you coming at me when it's the same boat? We're in the same boat.
It's all projection.
And it's always a person with a dog profile too. Like, it's always a dog profile picture.
Well, or like they'll use wrestlers' pictures, and I'm like,
I can't use that anymore because I've been doing it recently. I almost said it. I almost said it in the comments, and I was like, wait a second. I looked at my profile picture. I'm like, damn, it's Theory and Dexter Loomis.
Yeah, but you're doing it to be funny. They're doing it because they actually think that like they have a chance with Alexa Bliss. Because the one guy last week, his picture was of Alexa Bliss, and I've had that too, dude. Like, no, and I'm pretty sure she wouldn't appreciate you making fun of someone's looks.
No,
they'll say all this hateful stuff, and then their profile picture is Alexa Bliss. I'm like, do you think that she would appreciate you acting that way? Because
no, you're not Alexa Bliss. Like, like, okay, like, all right, buddy.
Like, and
neither are you. So take off the profile picture.
Yeah, you're not her husband, so
you're not Ryan.
Yeah.
People are
Tyler.
People are crazy.
You mean she's not going to leave Ryan Cabrera for me?
I hate to break it to you, buddy.
I'm sorry, Tyler.
Okay.
No, but you know, despite we're obviously like, you know, saying some negative things about Wrestletok, but this community has been so important for me, and I know it has been for you guys, because I never would have met any of you, and I'm so grateful for that. And you know, like, I probably have the lowest follower amount of anyone here, but you guys don't treat me any different, and that's what I like.
Of course not.
You know, Axel made several videos about the hierarchy stuff that was going on,
because TikTok could be deleted, and then we're all just like, we're just normal people. Like,
yeah, that Wrestletok Awards was total bullshit.
I've already lost the page that had over 70K. Like, it could all be gone.
People take
a long time ago, back
people
in like 2021.
Take it too seriously.
Yeah,
they really do. It's like, you think, and then with the hierarchy thing, it's like, oh, you think I make money off of this?
Yeah, no.
And it was
I
funny
do
that it
all
came
this
out.
for free.
It's funny how it came out around the time I'm able to cash out from the creator fund, and I was making a joke. I was like, "Oh, got my $25. Time to pay my rent because I get paid for this."
I think what happened with that, I personally was very upset about the Wrestletok Award thing, but I'm
Oh my
gonna tell you
goodness.
why.
Same.
I'm gonna tell you why. Mine was different because the person who came out with the idea
Mm-hmm.
had constantly been under my comment section in my inbox praising everything that I had to say and did. Then when the list came out, I'm kind of like, okay, this is ridiculous. But the thing that made me the most mad was the presentation that it was all of Wrestletok that voted or decided that this was going to happen. And the reason why that's a problem is because for somebody who wants or for a group of people that want to make things a community, you separate people
Yep.
by doing that.
Yes.
You say, hey, there's a group of 10 of us or 5 of us that decided that we wanted to come together and we like watching this content. We like participating. We decided that we wanted to choose our favorites. You don't come out and say that you want to pick 5 or so people and then gaslight everybody upset by saying, well, there's a write-in category. You can write in whoever you want.
God.
Well, how about we just not do that when you're trying to alienate a large group of people by saying that all of Wrestletok came up with this idea. And I came up with a plan with this person. I had to block them eventually because there was a situation over the past few weeks where a creator that made a video about why older people on TikTok think it's a flex that they're older. And I had this person blocked and I didn't even realize that it happened until people started stitching the video. And the reason why because I've had conversations with other people about it privately because I voiced my opinion as to why I think people use their age as a flex, which it isn't anything like that. It's just that we had no spoilers. We had no idea of what was going to happen. The curtain was still closed with us. And because of that, we view it in a different way and sometimes more passionately because we know what it was like to actually be excited for something. And it's just a different generation. But the reason why I personally got so mad about it is because of the fact that age had been an issue during the Wrestletok Award drama. Age had been brought up with the same group of people that were involved in this discussion of people's age and people being older being a flex. It triggered me because I had to watch the videos of the person who decided to come up with the Wrestletok Awards saying that older people over the age of 30 or whatever were the ones that were butthurt and upset because
I'm trying to hold my tongue because I know exactly who she's talking about. I'm trying to hold my
Drop the name. Drop the name.
We were upset because we need to leave it to the younger generation to do all this creation. And then when I got upset about it, people were in my inbox that I'm very close to. Like, I don't hold any ill will towards anybody that were like, they were talking about a specific person when that video was made. And I'm like, I understand that. But if I'm older than that person that was the topic of discussion during that, then by the transitive property, that means that you're talking about me. If you're talking about people over the age of 30 and that person is 35 and you say they're too old, I was 38 at the time. That means I'm too old to be creating content. But yet your favorite wrestlers are AJ Styles and Jeff Hardy and these people that are older than I am. They're not too old to wrestle and bring you entertainment, but I'm too old to come on the internet and talk about it.
Wait, they made a video targeting one person?
Yes.
Yeah.
I was...
Girl.
When it comes to this topic, it's kind of hard because I was a part of this whole TikTok creator thing. I was part of the idea. And everything was going good because personally I didn't make the whatever it's called, the little voting thing. So I thought what we talked about was the thing. We posted it and let everybody else put their votes in because that's how it should work. We shouldn't be the ones making the people in the voting. That wasn't the case. So I was already not feeling it. And then the video that she's talking about, and I know who it is, he's attacking people over 30. And I'm like, I'm 30. Excuse me? And I actually got into some stuff in the background with him. And I'm just like, bro, this makes no sense. You're making this something that it's not supposed to be. Now people are arguing about this. Oh. And there was people that were on there that I'm like, huh? And then there were people that weren't on there and I'm like, excuse me?
I made a video about it and I remember what I said. I was like, there's no way to judge or categorize this because everybody does different stuff.
And that was the thing. It's like you would really have to do it for months to really categorize people.
Right.
You can't just say, oh, who's the funniest? You can be funny in so many different ways. You could be funny just by yourself talking. You could be funny doing skits. You can be funny making music. So you can't really, creator of the year. How the hell do you decide that?
And to be honest, if you were going to decide that, it would be the person with the most followers because logically...
And Mr. Professor was not on there until somebody said something.
I didn't, and then there were a lot of personal reasons why certain people weren't on there, and then there were personal reasons. And here's the thing. It was never that I wasn't on there. It was never a thing. It's A, the ageism behind it. B, the fact that you are in the comment sections of all of my videos in my inbox telling me that you enjoy my content because it's different than any of the other creators in general. Like it's just different. It's a different type of creation. And he was one of the first people that I like really interacted with besides like my core group of friends like Dad Hat and Husky then and all, we each have our own little group within Wrestletok. So like we each have a group of people that we got super close to, like everybody does. Everybody has their own little niche group of people that they're close to.
Brotherhood.
Yeah, like there's nothing wrong with that.
There's not.
And it doesn't mean that like I think our group's better. It doesn't mean anything like that. But when the awards started, the biggest thing for me was how do you only include your core group of friends in this? If you guys wanted to hype each other up, pull a name out of the hat and blow smoke up their ass somewhere else. You know what I mean? Like you don't need to make it in the entire community and then to hide behind age and say that because a content creator is over a certain age that they shouldn't be a legitimate creator. Like, what are you talking about? And I said it in my video about it. I don't care if you're watching wrestling for 6 months or 6 years or 60 years. It doesn't mean that you know more than someone else. And sure, there are statisticians out there that, know who pinned who at 5 minutes and 17 seconds at the first WrestleMania. You know what I mean? Like there are people that know that. That is not the kind of creator that I am.
I've been watching wrestling for 22 years. I still don't remember some of the moves. I don't even remember the names. I'm like, what? They're like, oh yeah, yes, yeah.
Yeah, but and then you'll get someone that comes in that like I had a little bit of a situation a couple weeks ago because something I said in a stitched video to another creator who I love dearly, was misconstrued as me trying to be a know-it-all. And that wasn't what I was trying to do. I agreed with that creator about what they said. And the point of my video was to explain the situation of why I believe somebody from the draft was brought up to the main roster before someone else. And I have a different knowledge because of the things that I familiarize myself with and I watch outside of the WWE. So I get angry that Pete Dunne comes out like a little chihuahua every week because I am so used to the bruiserweight destroyer that he was before the WWE monopolized the entire UK. I get angry and cry on the internet when Trent Seven gets fired because he is the reason why a lot of these talents are where they are within international wrestling. I get upset when, like somebody that I know is a solid 10 in a previous company gets brought into the WWE and is treated like a joke. So when I made my response video saying, hey, this is why Isla Dawn and Kaylee Ray were brought up to the main roster before someone else. It was never my intention for it to be condescending or anything like that. I don't know what other people watch. If your content is 70% WWE and 29% AEW, I don't know what that other 1% is that you do because you don't talk about it. So if I know something and can educate a little bit about it and say, like, they were brought up because Kaylee Ray is one of the best hardcore wrestlers in Scottish wrestling history, or Isla Dawn was like running the women's division in Progress, like I can put that in there because if you're just a fan of the WWE, it might be like, why were these two brought up from the main roster? They've only been a tag team for, a month and they won the titles. And why before this other established tag team that's been teaming together 4 years? Well, I tried to explain it. And I think sometimes people are so used to the negativity and the toxicity within the community that when somebody's genuinely trying to answer a question or like explain it to them, your defenses are up. And I'm guilty of that too. I've responded to people in a defensive way because I'm so used to people trying to mansplain things to me that I come at it because I read it a different way. So with this person, we've talked about it. So like she understands what I meant, and I never meant to hurt anybody's feelings. It was just me trying to answer a question. And I think, especially as a female creator, our guards are always up because people automatically assume that we don't know what we're talking about. And like Bree got a comment about Austin Theory today. She made a video and somebody was like, do you just like Austin Theory or do you just like the way he looks? And like, it's crazy to me because when men are, and this isn't anything against you, Axel, this is just like a thing I've noticed. If a man likes a female wrestler and gives her positive feedback on a match, a lot of the times you're not going to see, I mean, people are called simps all the time, but if a man comments on a way a woman wrestles, women will respect that man for saying that, for being like, oh, I appreciate the fact that you like the way Rhea wrestles. Or, I mean, she's hot. We all know that. But it's nice. Shayna Baszler is the perfect example because Vince McMahon has said how he didn't think she was attractive enough to be pushed. And I love Shayna Baszler, not just because we have the same name. I love her. Like, I am a straight woman, but there are people that make me question it. She is one of them. Sonya Deville does it. And Rhea Ripley does it. Like, there's, yeah, like, there are people, but when men compliment a woman's wrestling abilities, women will run to that man and be like, oh my God, I appreciate that you didn't just say she was hot. But when a woman compliments a man's wrestling ability, you will always get men that are like, oh, you just think that they're hot. Well, newsflash, buddy. I think Samoa Joe's hot, and no one's going to run to my comments section and be like, are you just saying how great he is because you think he's hot? Because he's not conventionally attractive.
I've gotten it sometimes, especially with Beyonce. Oh, you just like her because how she looks. I'm like, I mean, that's a plus. That's a plus.
Yeah.
It hurt.
It's not always like that. That's why I hate it. Because men do it too. I'm sorry. I don't care how anybody feels about this woman, but Liv Morgan is the prime example. Yeah. There's a lot of men who aren't fans of her because of her work. It's because of her looks.
Yeah.
Like even on Facebook, I don't follow the pages, but I follow wrestling stuff, so I get it. Every time it's a picture of Liv Morgan, it's just showing off her assets.
Oh, but
It's
then
never-
if I make a video about somebody being hot, they're like, "Oh, you're
It's an
just
issue.
thirsty."
Yeah.
It's
like,
a problem. You should
dude.
watch wrestlers because they wrestle, not because they're hot. Well, I don't know what to tell
And
you.
it's like, would I be making all this content and talking about all of this if I just liked how people looked? Like, no.
Another prime example, Piper Nevin.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, I don't like her because she's so big. What the does that have to do with anything?
Nothing. It's
And
nothing.
But she's a powerhouse.
Yeah, and the thing that pisses me off the most, I don't know if I can cuss on here, but this one gets
Yes, you
my
can.
blood.
Go ahead.
Okay,
Pop
this
off.
one gets my blood boiling. So when she was in the Indies, she wrestled under the name Viper, and I want a stable between Piper Niven, Nikki Cross, Kaylee Ray, and Isla Dawn. Like, I want them in a stable. I want them to feud with Damage Control. I know there's one more person in that group, but that's what I want. I want them to be together because I'm so used to the four of them outside of the WWE. So Piper Niven, she's always been like the powerhouse. But let me tell you, you are not going to hear. I love Corey Graves. Like, I like Matt Polinsky. Like, I like him off screen. His commentary sometimes gets under my skin, and I want to go find him and just have words with him. Because he's never gonna say about Liv Morgan or Alexa Bliss or anybody tiny. He never says anything about them being too small to compete or being thin as a stick or not being strong enough to do these moves. But every time, like Nia Jax or Piper Niven or anybody over 125 pounds, well, we'll say over 175 pounds, comes out and does anything, it's always, oh, look at their power, using her weight to her advantage. I don't like it. It makes me uncomfortable. As a former fatty, it makes me uncomfortable. I don't like it. And it isn't like a sensitivity thing. It is just that Piper Niven can out wrestle, and she has better stamina than Brock Lesnar. So for someone to say that because she's a big girl, that she should only be doing like, power moves and squashing people and things like that, it makes me mad. And then the fans just perpetuate it. The fans will go in. And I look at some of these guys' profile pictures, and they're like 400 pounds. And I'm like, the call's coming from inside the house. You don't need to be talking about somebody's weight and appearance because the math isn't mathing and you're doing something wrong.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about this last week as well on our episodes. We were talking about the same thing of people on Wrestletok, for some reason, body shaming and like saying things about different champions because of their size. And it's like, but you don't really talk about men that way. You don't be like,
the only time they do is Adam Cole. Adam Cole and Johnny Gargano are the two go-tos. Anytime anybody wants to weight shame someone for being small, they never do it to the women. They only do it to the men. And then Keith Lee and Walter with the bigger guys. And the meme that pissed me off and sent me over the edge was when they showed a picture of Walter when he was wrestling in the Indies and he first came to NXT UK compared to how he looked now. And then they did the same thing with Keith Lee then and now looking the same. And I'm like, no.
And what about
Keith
it?
Lee, Keith Lee almost died. Okay. Like, he has a heart condition that was caused by having COVID. He almost died. And you're lucky that you even get to be entertained by him at all. But you know what? His weight didn't stop him in the Indies. People still talk shit about Samoa Joe. His weight's never stopped him. He was an X Division champion in TNA, and he was twice the size of everyone else.
Samoa Joe
so, like,
destroy all these people.
It bugs the shit out of me. And I wish that I had thick enough skin because I would be like the Drew Afualo of Wrestletok, and any Wrestletok creator that came in and said shit about someone's appearance, it would be an automatic stitch. But I'm not mentally strong enough for that yet. So instead, I ease into it a little bit, and I do the anti-wrestling fan, which was triggered by people being douche canoes on the internet. And I figured that's a nice way. It's the only bad thing I'm allowed to say about someone on TikTok without having my content taken down for harassment and bullying. Somebody called me ugly. And I made a response video because Mava Longlegs made a comment underneath of it and was like, are people really coming after your looks again? And I made a response video and I said, yeah, this dude called me ugly. That's all it said. It got taken down for harassment and bullying, and they wouldn't put it back up, even though I was saying what someone said to me. I reported the comment and they said that it wasn't a violation, but yet I'm talking about it. And that is the first thing that ever got me a violation. It was hilarious, actually. So somebody was talking about having a crush on horror movie characters and how it was unconventional because like this person was like obsessed with Michael Myers. And I was like, Tobin Bell in the Saw movies can get it, is all the comment was.
Hey.
And it got removed.
Met him.
We're like, oh my God. I don't know what it was. I don't know if it was, I don't know, but there was something that he did.
But we got all these videos of people idolizing Jeffrey Dahmer.
Oh,
and those stay up, but okay.
Yeah. But I said it and they removed it.
TikTok's a weird place sometimes. Like
that's happened to me before. People have stitched my videos, calling me out, calling me everything underneath the sun. I make a video calling them a dum-dum. Violation.
Yeah.
And it's because they report it.
Or I'll say exactly what they say, and I'll give report. I'm like, I said what they said.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, come on. So that's why I don't really respond to stuff anymore.
It's the only thing I can say. And then I started putting in the comments, I put a water drop and a canoe. And then that's the way that people know that that's what the video is about to be about. But I wanted to do something because I try to bring positivity in the fact that like sometimes people just need educated on something and think of something in a different perspective. But in wrestling Facebook groups, it's the worst. Like people still bring up Paige and her videos. And somebody said something to her at a signing. Like somebody asked her to sign something for them the other day. She posted about it on her Twitter. And somebody said something to her about like her tape or something, or I can't remember, but the incels still go in on her. And I've made so many videos. I made one video and she actually responded to it. She saw it and she commented on it. And it's like, the joke wasn't funny when it was made the first time. The joke, it's just, this girl has come out publicly and said multiple times she almost unalived herself. She turned to drugs and alcohol because of the shit that she went through. And guess what? Xavier Woods got a title and Brad Maddox got high fives. Seth Rollins' stuff gets leaked from his ex-fiance, and they find all this stuff about Zara Schreiber. I'm not saying anything she did was right. I'm just saying, like, this is the way that it always works. Seth Rollins is violated and has his private stuff stolen and put out publicly, and he gets a title, and Zara Schreiber gets fired behind the guise of these old pictures that, you know, have surfaced. And granted, they did fire, you know, Wesley, or what's his face? Wesley.
Nathan Fraser?
Oh, no, not Nathan Fraser. He's still there.
Who the fuck am I thinking of?
Oh my God, what is his
name? Who the fuck is Nathan?
Zachary Wentz. I can't think of what his name was in the WWE, but they fired him because of, you know, the Nazi salute that he did, and that's warranted. Like, I understand that, but a lot of the times it's like, it's like that in society in general. It's not just wrestling, but like people get violated, and the men are always okay, and then the women not so much. And then people were wanting to bring him back, to bring Zachary Wentz back, because they thought that his ex-wife leaked it, and she made all these abuse allegations and stuff, which turned out to not be true. She admitted later that they weren't true. And like people wanted to bring him back, but the cognitive dissonance, it's just crazy to me, because you know that doing those salutes are bad. But because his ex-wife leaked the picture, which was a violation of his privacy, and that she admitted that she lied about abuse, he still did it. Like, he still did the salute, which is what got him fired. So, like, I don't understand wanting to bring someone back that still did that bad thing that you fired them for. Like, I don't get it.
And I mean, Matt Riddle's stuff just got leaked, so we'll see what happens with that. And
Nothing.
Wrestletok has been going wild with that one.
Would you say they're going nuts?
And Ricochet, poor Ricochet.
Relax.
Ricochet stuff got leaked, and you know, like, I feel bad for him. His was way more embarrassing, but like, you know, it's just so crazy to me because I can't separate art from the artist. I've never been that way. I can privately still support you. Not really support, but like consume your content. Like if there's a song or something. My daughter obsessed with New Shit from Marilyn Manson, that song. And I don't support Marilyn Manson because of everything that has come out that he admitted to. He wrote it in a book that he did all of these horrible things. So I still listen to the song if it's on my playlist and I don't feel like changing it. But I'm not going to come out here and make a TikTok with that song playing in my background. Jimmy Havoc was one of my favorite wrestlers of all time. And he admitted to doing the bad things during speaking out that he was accused of. That's why he got fired from AEW. That's why he's blackballed from wrestling and literally works at a Best Buy. I will not publicly support Jimmy Havoc. I won't wear his merch anymore. I don't share the pictures that we have together. Like, I don't do it because I can't. That's why I hate Shawn Michaels so much. I can't separate the art from the artist. And if it ever came out that Trent Seven did something horrible to somebody, I'm going to get rid of all my Trent Seven stuff. Like, I can't separate the art from the artist. I'm not that way. I can't do it.
Yeah, and I mean, that's the hard thing too, right? Is because the videos we make on TikTok, like, those are forever. And so that's why bringing it kind of back to like a conversation that we were having before of not posting something because I don't want that to be part of my legacy, I guess. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, I don't
That's why I didn't post the ring rat video. And like, if you want to hook up with someone, you've got to keep it quiet, because if you don't, you're going to ruin it for everybody else who wants to do it consensually. You know what I mean? Rat. And some of these people, you know how many times I've been called a ring rat and I've not once touched anybody? You know, it happens. But there are people that like those kind of situations. And because people can't keep their mouth shut, because you want to get on the internet and brag or take a picture of them while they're sleeping or make yourself relevant. I remember I got in a fight with a girl on Twitter during speaking out, which that sounds awful, but she lied. She said that Trent Seven took her to a hotel room. In the meantime, she fills in the blanks of what happened. Allegedly, he was talking to these two girls at a bar that she thought could be underage. She didn't know, but they were drinking at the bar. And she wanted to take one for the team and pull him away from the girls that could have potentially been underage, and went back to his hotel room with him, and they hooked up. And she ended up being upset because he had a girlfriend. And this is all alleged, so Trent, I love you. I'm not accusing you of anything. We're friends on it. Trent and I we're besties. But I went to bat for him because I'm like, you admitted in this that you consensually went back to his room with him. You took one for that's what I said verbatim. I said, so you took one for the team. So then he didn't talk to these other girls. Like, it was different, and people were trying to make their stories relevant during these traumatic stories that these people were sharing. And I just don't like that. And that's why I didn't make the video or didn't post it, even though you guys get the exclusive now about the video. I didn't post it because I didn't want it to come off as like victim blamey, or that I was perpetuating that was okay, because that wasn't what I even said. I was meaning that there are women and men, because, you know, I'm sure there are female wrestlers that have different guys in different states, and there are people
Axel would be that guy.
that don't tell Tez. Don't tell Tez.
I ain't saying shit.
But see, like, if you're just gonna enjoy that and maybe tell your group of like 2 or 3 people that you can trust. But there are people that like that kind of thing. I'm not gonna tell them no, but I'm also not gonna tell other people, because then I don't want to ruin it if there's a second encounter. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. But you know what? Take it as a compliment. If someone calls you a ring rat, because that means that you are attractive enough for a wrestler to hook up with you, and that's on period.
Yeah, and I have there have been there are people constantly in my DMs, and it's like wrestlers that you see on TV every week, and I'm like, oh yeah, one, like, I'm not gonna say any names because again, I don't want to call that person out, but like, one person, like, this was during my, the end of my marriage and stuff. I'd become close friends with someone, and someone sent me a karaoke shower video, somebody that you see on TV every week. Nothing inappropriate showing or anything like that, but I mean, there are people in my DMs that have held gold in multiple companies. I mean, I could go on, but I would say kiss and tell, but I've never kissed them. But, it's just that people need validation from other people, so they can't keep their private life private. They want to go tell everybody what they did, and that ruins it for people who just want to keep some anonymity in a situation.
Yeah.
And on that note, shout out to this Wrestletok mama who's getting the DM. Can we just get a snap for that?
See, I might not get a Wrestletok award, but you know what? I don't see any former champions in your inbox, bestie.
Honestly, that should just be your comeback for everything.
Yeah.
Truly.
True.
Thank you so much, Shayna, for coming on here and talking to us. You gave us so much information and exclusive.
Juicy.
Some juicy tea.
That's why the first thing in my bio on TikTok says long-winded, because I could sit and talk about anything for hours.
Love that.
And we appreciate it. You are welcome back anytime. Just let us know whenever you want to come back. You are more than welcome.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I had a good time.
I'm so glad you had a good time.
I did.
Thank you guys for everybody who stayed in the chat and was here the whole time through the whole episode. We appreciate you. Make sure to like this video, comment, subscribe, follow, meet us in the ring on all of our socials, as well as all of our socials here. I will let everybody plug one last time and we'll wrap this up. Go ahead, Shane.
Okay, my TikTok is Shayna Hill Official, and my Instagram is Shayna Hill 7.
All right, you guys already know Maddie, IZ Persephone on TikTok and Twitch. All my social media links are in the link tree in my TikTok bio. Subscribe to the podcast. Follow our Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter page. And happy Mother's Day to you, Shanna. And happy Mother's Day to Bianca Belair, because she's literally mother. So.
And to also Courtney on TikTok and That Wrestling Lady. Happy Mother's Day to y'all too.
Yes.
Go follow Dom Dom.
Third.
Thanks, Rhea.
Thank you so much, Mommy Rhea, for being here today. You're the ultimate mommy.
We had a celebrity in the chat. We were celebrating Mommy on Mother's Day.
I hope you guys all have a good rest of your Sunday. Happy Mother's Day once again, and we will see you guys next week for our Night of Champions predictions video, because we're already at another pay-per-view. So get ready for that, and have a good day, guys.